Daddy.
Thank you, guys. Oops.
The title of my speech is A Dream of Science. Everyone has a dream. When we're little, it starts off as fighter, policeman, ballerina, or princess. Everybody tries to pursue their dreams throughout their life and faces obstacles, and their dreams change and grow. Today I'm going to talk about a young woman and the discrimination that she faced as she pursued her dreams. Rosalind Franklin was a young woman who pursued her dreams throughout her childhood, college, scientific work, and the theft of her dreams, all in the face of discrimination. Rosalind Franklin was born in 1920 to a prominent Jewish family in London. This allowed her to attend St. Paul's School for Girls. There they trained her not just for marriage, but for a career. There she discovered science. Though this was a rare thing for her and was a giant obstacle that she was a woman in science. But despite this, she loved science and knew that was what she wanted to do for her life. Rosalind's own mother was known to say, all her life Rosalind knew exactly where she was going, and at 16 she took science for her subject and never let go. She dreamed not only of science, but of making a difference in this world. She continued to pursue her dream as she transitioned from childhood to college. College itself was an obstacle. Not very many women were going to college. Her own father opposed her going to college, but through the help of her aunt and her mother, she attended Newham College, one of two all-women's colleges at Cambridge University. Her aunt even paid her first semester's tuition until her father caved in. There she pursued a degree in physical chemistry, again to the opposition of her father. But despite all that, she continued to pursue her dreams as she transitioned into the work years. Her first job was in Paris. There she studied and worked with coal and carbon fibers. There she helped to discover the high carbon fibers that we now have in our automobiles and airplanes. In Paris, she experienced an environment of openness and respect. Nobody seemed to care that she was a woman in science. Mostly this was due to the war going on at the time. All the women were doing the work then, and nobody seemed to care. She really loved her work there and was making a difference in science, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't a big impact on the world. She decided that it was time for her to return to London and to continue to pursue her dreams there as she moved to the hardest part of her life, her work at King's College and the theft of her dream. Rosalind moved to King's College to study DNA. There she would work with DNA fibers and x-rays. Her pictures were so beautiful that they are still unmatched. She would sit for hours using a tiny glass rod to separate the DNA strands and take x-ray photographs of them that took hours on end. Her time at King's College started off on the wrong foot. Due to a miscommunication with the lab director, Maurice Wilkins, there was a rift in their relationship. He thought that she was there to be his assistant because she was a woman. That was just a sign of the times there in the era. Not very many women were in science, and if they were only assistants. This was a common thread throughout her whole time at King's College. She wrote to one of her friends, "There's a lot of narrow-mindedness and obstruction to those directed to who are not party members being any man." There she had no colleagues and friends as the men stuck together. She wasn't allowed to eat in the men's cafeteria or any cafeteria at King's College, and the men would often go out and discuss their work at all men's clubs in the evening. This miscommunication with Maurice Wilkins led them to do simultaneous research into DNA. And as time grew on and he saw how her work was progressing, he took one of her pictures and showed it to two of his colleagues, James Watson and Francis Crick. Watson was quoted with saying, "My jaw fell open and my pulse began to race as soon as he saw her photographs. He knew that they showed that DNA was indeed a double helix." They took these photos and published their work. This led her to decide to leave King's College, that and the environment that she faced there, because their work showed, indeed, the structure of DNA. She had no idea that they had taken her photographs, and no idea that they would never credit her with the work until after her death. She moved on to a different college in London where she studied viruses. There her work helped to show the structure and function of many different viruses, including tobacco mosaic virus, which affects crops. Unfortunately, at the age of 37, she was struck with ovarian cancer and passed away. She died without knowing that these three men stole her work and got a Nobel Prize, in fact, for her work. In 1962, those three men received the Nobel Prize for the discovery of DNA. It wasn't until 4 years after this that James Watson finally admitted that her work was the reason that they discovered DNA. Today I hope you heard the story of a little girl who pursued her dream in making a difference in the world throughout her childhood, college, work, and the theft of her dream. I hope you came to see that her dream came true, even though the majority of it and the biggest contribution she didn't know of. I hope her story encourages you to pursue your dream despite the obstacles that you may face.